All right, so apparently Ross said that these two guys have been competing since they were young purple belts.
Oh my god.
And he says, I don't think I've ever beat him. So one thing I love about Ross, he's a practitioner of a lot of more traditional martial arts. And whenever somebody has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but they still love doing some traditional martial arts, I'm like, okay, here's an interesting fellow. You know, he can tell you what's real and what's fake as far as that goes. But he also has a new kind of game he's been practicing for the past couple of years, Shuai Jiao, which is that Mongolian wrestling style, or something similar to the Mongolian wrestling style. So there's some interesting looks. I know he actually went to China to compete in the Shuai Jiao Championships this year as well.
Wow, don't hear that every day.
He's an instructor at East Cloud Kung Fu. And John, of course, an instructor as well. And I'll tell you, Ross is really good with the butterfly guard. He's got some great ankle lock looks, but so does John. You'd be hard-pressed to find a guy who's more beloved in this building than John Schell. And look at that head. And it's because of the way John competes, honestly. He competes like it's the ADCC finals in every single match. And whether he's down by 20 points or ahead by 20 points, he's trying to finish you. And he's never going to back down in the standing game. So I think this is actually a good match for Ross to kind of test some of this gi wrestling and some of this other stuff he's been working on this year against a guy who's definitely got an A game here. Oh, and look at that outside trip attempt. He tries to hit the far side trip and ends up getting crushed by John Schell here in the top half.
Yeah, that was a really impressive sign of maturity and experience from John Schell, because sometimes in those exchanges it's easy to get swept up and overwhelmed, and he had really, really strong position. It was really the hip control there, and the timing was very smart, patience as well, not panicking, and lands himself in a very strong topside half guard. There's a good crossface here with the left hand. And it's interesting, you'll notice that his legs are actually crossed here. So you'll see John has his own right foot over the top of his calf.
I love this. This is actually something I would teach my people on my fight team. Like this is a look you would see more so from an MMA guy. But you see Ross is also triangling as well. So they're like kind of on top of each other. And now we see one of their foot is kind of laced to the outside. I think that's Ross trying to peel John's foot back towards the middle. Or maybe pull him into the roll. He's trying to maybe elbow push or something. But I think John's getting pretty heavy here. And as somebody who's felt this man's pressure more than once or twice, I can tell you it's not fun being down where Ross is right now.
John's doing a great job controlling Ross's left arm, because Ross is going to be looking to either bring his arm over the top as a crossface, or he's going to be looking to try to bring his left hand inside on an underhook. So by not only keeping the underhook, which John has, but also keeping his head where it is, that's going to give him a great opportunity to keep Ross's left shoulder pinned to the ground, and both the underhook and the frame on Ross's side can help him turn to his side and take his shoulder off. Now he's switching more into a deep half, though, on the opposite side. So this is a nice look at an opening for Ross to turn the tides.
Oh, but John's on that. It looks like John's grabbing a half Nelson maybe, or a power half. It looks like he kind of put the elbow behind the head for a second, but maybe he feels like if he puts his hands together, he'll be too vulnerable to the sweep. I'll tell you, both of these guys are just really good ambassadors for martial arts. Like, a lot of times I'll be training with either one of them, but in particular John, and I'll ask him one simple question, and the next thing you know, he's showing me stuff for like 40 minutes, 50 minutes, just one by one, just giving me all of his knowledge so freely. And Ross is very much the same way.
We can never shut up, you know.
That's why we got him. You got him so you could talk about it.
We just get excited. Oh, nice deep half attempt here to come up and to wrestle up, and he sits him down. Now it's outside of points, but he has exchanged top position, of course.
That's got to be a good mental victory after getting taken down off your own takedown attempt earlier as well. Great reversal from Ross, but John Schell working the butterfly hooks here, and now both men jockeying for position with the chest-to-chest connection. It's Ross. Duncan. Look how active John is with the hips. He's moving those hips, swinging them.
That was amazing defense. It was really, really a show of resilience there because not only did he have to rotate his hips and stay really insistent with the lower body, but even after he got his knees to the ground, a lot of people would have been pancaked over to their back, and he was still able to fight his shoulder out and kind of bring it overhead and swing it around. And now he's being, his efforts are rewarded by coming into top position on a guillotine. And it looks like
he also followed one of the most beautiful and basic principles in all of grappling, which is I must get my hips and head higher than his hips and head. And I just felt like John just knew, either way this goes, my head needs to be above his head. And I could just see him looking up at the sky, trying to make his head go higher and higher. This is a deadly position for John Schell, let me tell you. A lot of finishes
tight
here.
Squeeze on the head with both of his knees.
His legs are strong. And I'll tell you, he's good on this Kimura, but what might happen is he'll put the Kimura behind the back, and as you try to turn and roll, he'll just switch to a necktie.
Man, that's got to be a big squeeze on the head here. You don't see that every day.
Trying to pop that grape.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough grip to break, though, from Ross. But that angle switch might help. Although he's not able to get to the Kimura, he does come into a nice side control. And this is a very solid topside position for John Schell.
Yeah, John with working the shoulder across the face now. Again, we see the grind. And now that arm shelved up on the thigh, really isolated. We've seen that cause a lot of problems as well, because once that arm's kind of out of the fight, John can start prioritizing the far arm.
Yeah, John keeping his left knee up high, like you said. Really smart to keep that right elbow from coming inside and framing hard on the hip. So he's going to, brings his knee up, looking for the mount.
Pretty good defense so far from from Ross on the bottom. He's not given John a ton to work with, but John's content to cook from here.
Yeah, there's no points on the board yet either, so I think it's safe to say that John is going to take his time looking for his next score and not lose the position. He could also be looking for the topside armbar. We can see, and we heard his coaches yelling that a moment ago.
That shin over the
or the Kimura again. To
Ross
the back.
Bellies down too quick before John can shoot over for the armbar.
If he keeps him flat here, he will score 4 there.
Yeah, but Ross is kind of
coming back up.
Ross might settle for this position, which would be, in my opinion, worse. Crucifix.
Oh, he has a more full
Schell.
crucifix now, yeah. There's a nice
This is a position I know Ross has played a lot as well. I've been in Ross's crucifix a time or two, and now Ross is up on this single leg dump again. Duncan dunks him once more. And I think here, if you reset off of that, that's going to be 2 for him. Yeah, they're going to give him 2 here. Or nope, Kyle says he's going to get 2, but Bagels, who is our referee, is not giving the 2 until John settles. There it is. 2 on the board for the dunk master. And this is a close match with 2 minutes left, and 2 points is not a lot to score for either guy. John's trying to send it.
Ross has 1 hook in.
Look whose head's higher right now, always higher. Who's going to come out on top? Usually the guy whose head is higher.
I think John's going to be able to turn and face him. It looks like he's going to be able to have the angle, but really beautiful follow by Duncan.
Now Ross's head is higher, though. Grappling 101, folks, as we return to the mat. Ross is on the butterfly. I think he may have had double unders. If not, it's shallow under and over. All right, with less than, or I think slightly under 2 minutes. I don't have the clock here in front of me. Slightly less than 2 on the board. Ross is up by 2 with the butterfly guard, and John Schell has already grabbed one of the legs and has turned Ross onto the weak side. Good regard from Duncan. That flexibility on display. I thought that knee was in trouble there. everyone left in this building is either from Elevate or from Shell Shock, which is why it's so loud in here all of a sudden.
Oh, it's a short 1 minute left here.
Ross Duncan is 1 minute from redemption.
We're going to see John Schell really become desperate to open the guard. I'm sure he's going to stand up.
He's saving it for one last hurrah.
That's that short choke in there. Oh, it almost looked like he was going to bring his legs over the top of the legs to open the guard. But what an odd transition from these guys. 30 seconds left.
Does John Schell have one more jump in him? Does he have a knee Does he have a knee he can put in the middle? Does he have anything to break open his guard? Because there is, Ross is in the driver's seat now. If he wants to sit here, the onus is going to be on Schell. Schell is going to elect to try and just lift him off the mat. Nope, he's going to push away on the face.
Yeah, really difficult to open the guard with that lapel wrapped around the body.
And that is time. Ooh. Ross Duncan inches it out on John Schell. A great match to finish off the day here at Toro Cup. I know John's frustrated. He's not the kind of guy who likes to lose at all. No one does, but I think
it makes him a great competitor, right? We love to watch people like that.